to the PERFORMA POPcast. My name is Peter Sers. I am your host. And today we have a very special guest. We're very excited to have him on. This man is first of all, congratulations. You are the first guest on this show that is more jacked than I am. So
I appreciate it.
He's a three-time Olympian IFBB pro bodybuilder. He's a father. He's a fitness coach. He's host of the More Than Muscle podcast. And he likes to inspire people, not only in being healthy in their bodies, but in their minds and all aspects of their life. For life, right?
Sounds about right.
Okay. I like that, man. I actually have some questions about that. But first of all, how are you doing, man?
I'm fantastic, man. I want to take a second before we even get going, man. I just want to congratulate you on all the success in your podcast, and also thank you just for having me on. And I appreciate your time. It means a lot to me.
Sure. Like when they told me that we were going to have you on, I was like, oh, sweet, man. Like I know I've been in the fitness industry for too long, not too long, but like just so long, like. Because you've been in the fitness industry for what, like 15 years or so?
About that, yeah. It's been a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? When you say it and you realize how long.
Yeah, it's changed dramatically in the last 5 years. So yeah, it's crazy about it.
I tell people all the time, like when I started in the fitness, so I started as a trainer in 2001, and when I started, our gym had maybe 2 or 3 stability balls.
Wow.
And no one knew how to use them. We didn't even have I remember when we got our first Bosu ball. I remember
what?
Yeah, I remember when those came out. And so to see now where you can't even, I mean, you're into the bodybuilding world more so than I am, but if I went to a gym and they didn't have a Bosu ball, I'd be like, what the hell kind of gym is this?
Nuts. The culture has changed.
Yeah.
The expectation of what health is, and it's just really evolved and migrated into something extravagant, and it's dope to watch. I've been around for a while. Before it was okay to bring your cell phones in the gym. Before, and people looked kind of strange when you brought your cell phones out of your gym bag. Now they're damn near the gym accessory. So
we have to. And I'm not trying to justify, because it bothers me when people are at the gym and they're spending more time on their phone than at the gym. But I remember, I'm old enough to remember having a Walkman or a CD player, a Discman.
Don't move too fast. You just might skip.
Yeah, right.
Skip on your favorite song.
Yeah, if you want to run, you better hold it in your hand or put it on something, dude.
Yeah.
And then it evolved to MP3, and then iPods was game changer.
Yeah, it's crazy. I love where it's going. I'm just thankful to be a part of it this long and to be around. I didn't really remember how long I've been around, and thanks for dating me. I appreciate it.
So I tell people all the time, I still train a little bit, and in June I will have been in the fitness industry for 20 years, which is crazy.
Congratulations, man. It's a dope industry to be a part of for this long.
I mean, I could think of so many just people that I've just experienced. Every time it's man, think about how many people whose life I impacted in a cool way,
Sure.
That's cool for me. 20 years worth. Where now I've got people whose kids, I remember them having kids and remember them getting married. It's just it's a cool thing,
I always feel if you're not impacting people in a positive way, man, what are you doing? What are you really doing?
I agree 100%.
Especially now in the age of social media, it's so easy to communicate with someone else. With thumbs, you can spread some positivity fairly easily these days.
Or on the flip side, not to bring it down, but you could also flip negativity too. But we're not aware of that, but it's out there, obviously.
Yes,
so let me ask you a question, because I people are listening, don't know, where are you from? Where up? All those things.
Sure. So I was born in Stockton, California, raised in Northern California. Tracy, California is where I went to
Talked him.
Yeah,
Talked
209.
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah. 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 So I graduated high school in 2004 in Tracy, California, and I was an athlete all through high school, all through college. Played basketball. Very skinny, very frail, very intimidated. I was a very shy, introverted guy. Very, very into academics, psychology, understanding self, understanding the mind. That was something that piqued my interest really early. Fell into psychology in high school, graduated with a psychology degree, and played basketball throughout college. But I realized throughout training for school or training for basketball and those Olympic lifts and those athletic movement patterns, I fell in love with just learning how to mold the body into the mold the clay and mold the physique into what I wanted. I was really, really into comic books growing up. Had a really strong and very early affinity to Bruce Banner. I had a really strong connection to having a certain degree of rage, a certain degree of aggression, a certain degree of uncertainty, not really understanding how to connect with those around me. That cartoon and that when Lou Ferrigno brought him to life, I had a really strong connection with that character, and understanding the art and understanding how to mold the body with nutrition and exercise. It was just synergy for me, and it was a really, really effective way to express myself. And that's all bodybuilding became for me, was just molding my clay into the way I wanted to, and expressing myself through movement patterns and that kind of thing.
So you read comic books as a kid?
I read them. I studied the art. I studied the colors.
Oh, wow.
I paid attention to everything, especially the Incredible Hulk. I had a really, I connected with the storyline. I connected with the characters. I connected with how each episode usually began, and it ended with him kind of walking away alone, kind of somber and that kind of thing. I related to that very, very early in my life. And so without really knowing it, I think I just emulated what I paid attention to, and it turned into bodybuilding. And it really had nothing to do with competing. It had nothing to do with beating anybody or stepping on stage and reigning victorious in any type of fashion. It was more so expressing art form to an audience that knows how to appreciate the kind of art form I participate with.
Okay, so would you say the Hulk is your favorite superhero then?
Without a doubt.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, because we do cover a little pop culture in here. Sure. How do you feel with how they've done the Hulk, like in the Marvel universe? Like we're gonna toss aside the Eric Bana movie.
Okay,
just go
sure.
Edward
Norton. So the Edward Norton movie, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked how the scene where he was in some kind of like a grassy knoll type of environment, and they had the tanks and the sound waves.
The college.
Yeah, the college. That's what it was. That scene when they were shooting those 50 cals at him, and he was kind of blocking them.
Right.
I like that. That scene was crazy for me. And also, to be honest with you, the rage and the destruction and the muscularity and all of that, obviously, I was attracted to that very early, but his ability to recognize the feminine side of life and the feminine side of reality, his ability to soften towards the likeness of love, and his ability to recognize romance in a female, I completely was enamored by that, because it was like the only thing that could really calm that person was the softest, most gentlest thing around him. And to me, that was nuts. But as far as movies go, I like how they portrayed him. In the comics, the more angry you get him, the bigger and stronger he becomes, and he jumps insanely far. And so if they could just kind of throw a little more of the jumping in there, and the fact that you push him, he gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
So in the comic books, you're saying that he actually, like, there's not like a limit, like he can continue to grow.
Yeah, there's some episodes where he just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Oh, wow.
In some of the movies, they domesticate him enough to where he can communicate and he can be a part of a team, and he can have a team environment. But in most cases, he's completely destructive. Like, there's really no way of of getting him to work with you. You just kind of have to like point him in a direction and like let him go. That's kind of the way the Hulk, as far as I remember, that's kind of the way the Hulk.
Okay. I mean, because I always talk about it, especially like when I get into it on here, but like I never read comic books as a kid. Like, I don't know. I just didn't. Like, I remember like like my earliest memory, I mean, like there was like Superman movies and stuff growing up, obviously like Christopher Reeve, and I love the one with Richard Pryor, like, but there wasn't like it wasn't like now where we get a superhero like, you know, every 2 months, you know. Yeah, so I don't know like all the, you know, like when a movie comes out and then like all the nerds go online and start like complaining about, oh well, that's not how it was, and I'm like, I don't know, dude, I'm just being entertained.
I'm just here for the party. Yeah. I feel it. I'm big on movies. I enjoy movies, especially now that we have the technology to kind of portray some of the cartoons that, you know, we grew up watching. I really feel like it's about time for the Jetsons, you know, the Jetsons like at the time, live action. Yeah, I think Will Ferrell would be a dope George Jetson right about now, man. Will Ferrell.
And who would be what's this? Is it Jane Jetson?
Yeah, maybe
if it's Will Ferrell, it's gotta be someone older. So like, I don't know, like a Kristen Wiig.
There you go. There you go.
Two SNL together.
Yeah, they need to get that done.
You're welcome, Hollywood. We just cast them.
Check.
So you got into bodybuilding like while you were still playing basketball, or was that post?
Post. So what I was actually doing was I was having basketball practice, and we would have our lifting training session after practice, and then I would leave that practice session and that lift session and go directly to the gym and just do the movement patterns that I like to do. And I realized I played at went to San Diego State, and I realized
Aztecs.
Yes, sir. What a dope school, man. Too much fun, a little too much fun for me at the time, but I realized I don't love basketball enough to progress in the ways that these athletes that I was playing with love basketball. I enjoyed it because it was fun, and I enjoyed it because I was good at it, but I didn't enjoy it. I didn't have the passion enough to cultivate that skill set. And so I just realized I like training way more than I like playing basketball. And so after I was done playing, I just kind of, you know, devoted more of my attention and my energy into understanding the correct ways to do certain things and certain exercises, and really, you know, find my place in what I wanted to do in the gym. But I actually was going to these contests and just frequenting them just as a spectator and a lover of the art form. Like I was telling you, I'm really not too competitive in any way, but, you know, going and watching the first show I went to, I saw this Masters 55 and up, and this gentleman came out, and you know, he obviously was over 55. He had an eye patch on, and, you know, he was in the best shape of his life to him, and he was living his best life. And I was in the audience, and I was struck. I didn't necessarily think I wanted to do it, but I definitely knew I wanted to be a part of this environment. It just seemed like a very unique niche environment where these people that show up to this event know exactly what I do, and they can appreciate, you know, what I do. And so I just started going all the time with no intention of competing, but I would just go. And people would ask me when my next show was, when I was going to compete. And sooner or later, I met a guy who became one of my very close friends. His name is Ariel Alberto. He's my coach. And we connected on a personal level. And after that, if it wasn't for him and the personal connection that we established, I have zero interest in trying to compete or anything like that. But the way that I feel about him and the friendship that we formed, it made it all worthwhile. So I did a contest. I won the entire show, my very first show. And he walked off. Yeah, the first one.
Come on.
I just didn't want to get embarrassed. I remember going through the prep, like I don't care, because remember, I'm not competitive anyway. I just don't want to get embarrassed. You know, I just don't want to get up there, my friends and my family, my kids and stuff, and like I'm just not trying to get embarrassed. And it ended up going extraordinarily well. I walk off stage, and he goes, "Yo, man, you ever been to Chicago?" I'm like, "Nah, I've never been to Chicago." He goes, "I think I want to try your hand at a national show in Chicago." And I go, "Sure, man, whatever. When's that?" And he goes, 12 weeks, we start tomorrow. And so we started the next day, 12 weeks, we did another show, to another show, and it kind of just snowballed into the norm. And it's completely normal to kind of go through that process now.
Right. So how many, like, obviously this year's been a little bit different. There haven't been as many, but like, what's like you obviously probably have like an on-stage weight and an off-stage weight, right?
Kind of, yeah. I don't fluctuate too far. Usually I'm between like 7 to 9 pounds away from where I need to be for the stage.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't get too far.
Okay. So what's like because this always fascinates me. Like, what's like the lowest amount of carbs you're allowed to eat, like pre-show? Because
Oh,
I know
easy.
low.
Zero.
Zero carbs.
Yeah. I mean, depending on the person, but
Right.
for me,
you.
yeah, I've gone zero for days. I've gone zero carbs, zero fats before
Like
at the same time.
how many days are
Uh,
we talking?
the second Olympia I was a part of, the week out, we did zero carbs and zero fats for 5 days straight.
So you're just eating protein.
Yeah, egg whites in the morning and white fish throughout the day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember I had an hour of cardio fasted, so I'd wake up, no energy, walk on the treadmill for an hour, find the energy to eat 11 egg whites with no fats, no carbs. And then I would go to the gym, find some kind of way to train with zero energy, and then walk on that treadmill again, post workout for an hour. And it was brutal. It was brutal.
Do you get like, you could be honest, like, do you get like, you gotta get like angry or cranky or like if I don't have a little bit of like, I eat relatively low carbs, but not no, I mean, you know, I'm older, my carb intake, but like, if I'm like, if I need to be on camera for something or whatever, like, you know, you got to lower it. And I'm just like, I don't want to be around anybody when that's happening.
So I experienced that. Because I did the keto thing for quite some time, on and off. And you're absolutely right. What I experienced was extreme like lack of energy.
Yeah.
Not the nicest guy, super impatient. And at the time, I was a case manager and a behavior change therapist for individuals getting out of prison or getting out of jail. And so I felt like I needed to give these individuals like the best of my attention. Obviously, I couldn't like falling asleep because of low carb. So what I did and my attempt was to recognize, much like we wake up in the morning and we look at our iPhones and we understand how much battery we have, battery charge. We have an established inventory of how much energy we can use on this phone. And depending on if you know your behavior patterns, you know, you're on Instagram, you know, you're on Twitter, you know, you have a couple girlfriends over here, you know, you got these things going on, and you know what types of, not me, but you know, you have a couple of, you have a couple of things that you use your energy for, and you begin to prioritize what's most important. So what I did when I was going through that process, I realized that I wasn't the nicest to the people that I wanted to be the nicest to. I wasn't the best Anthony to the people I wanted to present the best Anthony to.
Right.
So what I started to do was inventory my energy fairly early. And I recognized I don't have a whole lot of energy to spare. I should probably allocate this energy to the most important places and the most important people possible. And so I realized really, really quickly that I give out a ton of energy to a ton of unnecessary sources. I'm having a ton of unnecessary conversations. I'm listening to things that are draining me as opposed to depositing positive energy back into me. And so it was like a primal thing. I realized very, very quick, without like sounding rude about it, what was and wasn't worth my energy. If I didn't have much of it at all, I'm giving it to the places that need it the most. And it made me super freaking efficient, bro. Like it like put a battery in my back in terms of like, get out of the way. Anything that's not going to benefit me and my best self and my positive self, anything that's going to traject me in any positive ways, there's no time for it. It's like I literally don't have the energy for it. And then once I started eating carbs again and stuff, it was just that same process. Like, I think I know not to deal with this anymore, you know? Yeah, it was rough. I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it and make it seem like it was some, cathartic process, because it wasn't in that way, but it was absolutely a process nonetheless, for sure.
Yeah, I've always had respect for anyone that competes and like as someone just that's been into fitness for so long, but that never has any desire to step on the stage. I always have, so many of my friends that compete and still compete, I'm just like, better you than me, but like so much respect for it, because it's a different type of discipline, dedication, sacrifice, like just like all those things,
Absolutely.
But you were touching on something, and I listened to some of your podcasts, and I heard you talking about meditating.
Sure. Yes, sir.
And how, kind of like it was kind of going along the lines of like, and you kind of said it just now, but like, giving the people that are important to you like the most. And so you talked about how meditation helps you with that, because you want to be the best you, right? So that you could be the best. I was like, I'm paraphrasing, but like,
you got it. That's right. Absolutely.
Doing the things that you can to be the best you, so that you can take care of the people that are most important to you. So that's kind of that, but it was interesting to me because like when you think like bodybuilders, you don't think like, hey bro, do you meditate? Like it's not like, it's not common. I meditate, but like it was just cool hearing it from like, because I'm sure there's a decent amount that do it, but it's not the norm.
Yeah, it's been a powerful addition to my morning routine. My mornings are extraordinarily important to me. My girlfriend Tori helps me out tremendously with understanding how important, this 1 hour window of time when I open my eyes. The first things I do, I have to make sure that I'm grounded in a certain way. And what I mean by that is, got a lot of distractions, a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world right now. And for me, the best ways for me to prepare Anthony to do these types of things that I do every day is to make sure that I'm grateful. I understand. I establish gratitude before I eat food, before I drink any water, before I get out of bed. I just make sure I'm aware of not the physical things that I'm thankful for, because things come and go, but thankful for the lessons, man. I'm thankful that I can make mistakes and not, they don't cost me my life. You know what I mean? I'm thankful that I can, like breathe fresh air, those types of things. I just make sure that I'm like seriously and literally grateful for the most fundamental and mundane things that a lot of us take for granted. But then I meditate and I journal multiple times a day. And that just helps me understand my own thought processes, helps me put words to a ton of the feelings and a ton of the emotions that I feel throughout the day. And I feel like, I don't necessarily want to make it a male-female thing, but men in our culture we're not always celebrated for being in touch with our feelings and being in touch with our emotions and knowing how to act or not act on those things. And so for me personally, it's been amazing. Actually, it's been pretty exciting, difficult, but exciting to understand my own thoughts and my own feelings and really begin to be precise and efficient with putting together the bricks, if you will, to become the better person that I want to be. You know what I mean?
It's funny that you talk about journaling, because I do stand up. I'm a stand up.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I'm not funny right now, but in real life,
I gotta check you for sure.
But like I too, like when I was listening to you talk about this, I was like, this is very similar. Like, so I meditate every morning. I only do 20 minutes though. That's enough for me, and that's hard enough.
Yeah,
but then I write, but I don't journal. I write because it's like a journal, but it's also like I'm trying to write like material, right? And I force myself to do it every day. But sometimes it ends up just being me, whatever's in my head.
Sure.
And I always tell people, like, I write every day, but like 10% of it ever even ends up on the stage. But there is something about writing, and for me, it's like sometimes I'm trying to be funny, and then sometimes I'm just writing like, this is what happened, this is what I've been through. Like, I remember something about, when I was a kid and this happened, and it's like, there is something to that. And I know a lot of people that do it, but it's not something, like you said, like guys don't really talk about it. And
I'm super interested in that process. I love comedy. Most of the movies I watch are, if they're not like superhero movies or something like that, they're pretty much comedies since I was a child. So I've always watched stand-up, and I watch stand-up just about every day, just about, to be honest with you.
Every day?
Yeah. If you're not laughing, man, what are you doing? And you know what? I think that stand-up comedians, they hold a very unique and a very precise and a very necessary place in our culture. Whereas, especially in 2021, there's not too many places where one person can stand and speak their thoughts and feelings and emotions and whatever's on their mind with zero regard for any type of punctuation or like credibility or anything like that, and not be interrupted. But everybody listen.
In a perfect world, we're not interrupted.
Sure. There are some hecklers, right? But to me, it's such a profound environment where you can stand there and say some crazy stuff, Or anywhere else, a grocery store, Barnes and Noble. Dude, if you stand on the side of the street corner and say some things,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know what I mean? I
100%.
love that you do that. That's dope, man. That's super dope.
Like, I mean, I have a sense of humor, but like a lot of comedians are like on all the time. Like they're always, and like, I'm not on all the time. Like I can talk and have a normal conversation without cracking jokes and whatever. But at the same time, like there are times when I'm at the store or just anywhere and like something happens and like I'll say something that I know is funny, but like if the person on the other end doesn't know that I'm joking, because I can just deliver it dry. Like I don't have to say something to be like, haha, you know, like I can just say it. And it's funny to me when they don't get it because I'm just like, no, you don't understand. Like that shit was funny, dude. Like and I just, it is what it is, but it's just funny. And
listening to something earlier today about when things like comedians, when things are comedy doesn't have to be correct. It's just funny. It's funny or it's not. You know, and a lot of people become offended by comedy when they attach their feelings to certain things. But what I was trying to say, comedians can crack jokes about some of the saddest occurrences in life. You can have a joke about death, and it makes people laugh. And people who've experienced death, salute to you, man. Comedians are, I think they're like the modern philosophers, in my opinion.
Some of us are just silly. I'm kind of in the I talk like, so I'll tell you a little bit. So like I grew up like East LA, 909 area, like, you know, very Latino neighborhood, a lot of gang violence. My dad got caught up in like, my dad like sold drugs, went to prison, like, you know, just whatever. But like, I was able to take all that and I was abused and whatever. Like, it's fine, you guys, I'm okay. I go to therapy. But I was able, like when I first started, you know, I feel like when people first start comedy, for the most part, we all talk about sex and body fluids and like, just because that's all we know. And we think it's funny because we talk about it with our friends. But when I really started, like, I want to say like progressing as a comic was when I started actually talking about like the pain that I had been through and figuring out a way to make all these things, like with my dad and with my mom died also. Making those things funny was when I really kind of started to get more work and just have people come up to me afterwards and be like, oh man, like, you know, my dad went to prison for selling meth and this and that. You're like, oh wow, like we have something in common. And you live in Springfield, Illinois. And you know what I mean? Like, so that was cool for me. But yeah, I don't really philosophize. I don't know. Yeah, I guess we got opinions though. We do. We can I can get away with saying, because everyone's different, but like on stage, I'm like, I have a fun personality on stage. So I'm not like the asshole comic. So I can get with saying a little bit more because I present it in like, oh, he's the fun guy. Like, oh, he's
not the Bill Burr. I'm angry all the time. Yeah.
Well, but I am though. It's just, I don't know. But I'm like, I can get away with more stuff, I think. I also, I'll be honest. I think also because I'm brown, it's a little bit easier to get away with saying certain things. Like the white dude was on stage saying some of the things, unless it was Bill Burr, like it just depends. So let me ask you a question, man. What's one thing you wish you would have known about bodybuilding or even like in the fitness industry when you first started that you know now, like looking back?
Good question. Ooh. There's no right way. There's no right way. That's something that I definitely wish I came across a little earlier. But for example of that is in my career, there's times where I need to bring up body parts to have symmetry with other body parts. My shoulders, for example, for a long time, kind of lagged, and I just needed to bring them up to be proportionate with the rest of the presentation that I was hoping to show. And I tried a ton of different methods. I tried different exercises. I tried different workout splits, train them certain days a week, train these exercises. Don't eat these foods when you train shoulders. Eat these foods only when you train shoulders. I tried a ton of things. I had driven to certain gyms for certain machines. It's been years. And what's that?
I just said, wow.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, it'd been years. I just tried a ton of things, and I'd done some research. I'd read a bunch of rules and different types of approaches, and I just said, I'm just gonna train them every day. Like if I'm training legs, at the end of my leg training session, I'm gonna go with the dumbbells. I'm gonna do 3 sets of an exercise for the front delt, 3 sets of an exercise for the side, and another 3 sets of an exercise. My favorite exercise, whatever exercise I want, for the rear. And I did that for like a year and a half. I trained my shoulders every single day. Every day.
Okay. So hold on. Did you say 3 sets or 3 exercises?
3 exercises, but I did 3 sets each. So an exercise, an exercise, an exercise, but 3 sets per exercise.
Got it. So, I mean, for some people, and this is funny because that's a whole workout for some people.
Oh snap! I never thought about that. Right? I never considered that. Sure.
I'm like, that's 9 sets. I think if I did the math right, like that's for some people, not you, but for some people, that's a whole workout. And so when you look at, like a bodybuilder or even like an athlete for that matter, and you like marvel at like, man, look at them. You think like, okay, well, this dude just did a leg workout and then he did like a shoulder workout afterwards. And he does that every day almost. Like, that's crazy. That's insane.
When I was playing basketball in school, and I think it was middle school, I read a newspaper article, if I'm not mistaken. I hope someone doesn't fact check this, but I think it was Larry Bird. And Larry Bird was, he was shooting free throws, and he was so precise with his free throw that he could shoot a free throw without any rebounder, and the ball would hit the back of the rim and bounce like directly back to him. So he figured out a way to be so accurate that he didn't need anyone to rebound. And the reporter was like tripping. He was like, I can't believe you could do this. The same way I'm tripping. I was like, he could do that. But Larry Bird wasn't. Like, he was like, it was the norm for him. And when I heard the story and I read that, what I took from that was, if you want to do something extravagant, something extraordinary, you have to make that your norm. Your norm has to be up here. Let others marvel at whatever you're doing, but you have to transcend your norm. Your norm has to be way up. And so anytime I'm getting ready for a contest or anything like that, I have to remember that I have to elevate my norm. My norm has to be vibrating way high.
I have a not a similar Larry Bird, but there's like a story about how I don't remember what year. Have you ever actually? I feel like you probably read this book. Have you ever read the book Relentless by Tim Grover?
I've heard of it. I need to read it. I've heard of it.
Oh man, I don't want to say it's life changing because I'm already like, but it's a great read, and I reread it all the time. So he trained like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Charles Barkley, like a bunch of. But he talks about Larry Bird walked into like the locker room for the All-Star game for the 3-point contest, and he just looked around at like John Stockton, whoever else was there, and he's like, so which one of you guys is going to take second place today? Yeah. And then he won, and just like, that's crazy.
The mind's powerful. It really is.
Yeah, I mean it's also like there's certain people that they're just on another level, and to be great at these, whatever it is. And it could be anything, bodybuilding, sports, business, whatever it might be. Like, it takes a certain type of thinking to get there. Comedy, like, you have to dedicate yourself. Like, it's just anything. And not everybody can just make that. It's uncomfortable sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
Like, talk about no carbs and working out every day and fasted cardio, like all these different things. Like, this is not comfortable.
Not at all, man. Not at all. Yeah.
But you do things because and this is actually a Tim Grover quote, but it's like, you don't have to love the work, but you have to crave the results so much that it doesn't matter what the work is.
That's the truth. Yeah. Holy smokes. That's the truth. Crazy.
I feel like I assumed that you had read it, but now you're going to read it. So
read it.
Welcome. You're welcome. I give Tim shouts out all the time. He's great. I love him. What is one common myth about bodybuilding that you would like to debunk?
Ooh. Man, these are good.
I didn't write any of these.
These are
I read some of them I did, but not all of them.
I would say There's a misconception that there's a bulking phase and a cutting phase that's necessary in order to, to have more muscle and less body fat, or no body fat, or least amount of body fat as possible. And in my experience, you don't necessarily have to put the body through that big bulking phase where you're at such a high caloric surplus that you're bulky and you're causing water retention and lots of different health issues potentially. For me, I suggest raising the calories enough to be at a surplus, to be productive, to grow and to lubricate the joints and everything like that, but not enough to be messy and to be unhealthy and to go the opposite direction.
You're not walking around tubby on the off season. Like you're staying, I call it, this is what I do, is like I stay camera ready all the time.
Absolutely. I just have a hard time abandoning the principle that got me to where I was. I've seen it. I've seen someone work super hard for months and months and throw it away in a matter of a few meals. But then again, not to judge anybody, to each their own.
Of course.
To me, I feel like it's a myth that you have to do that in order to make progress. There's some competitors that I know personally who will be on stage at said weight, 200 pounds, and will bulk in their off season to 230 and then get back on stage at 200 pounds.
Right.
And, to me, sometimes it's an excuse to let loose the reins on your discipline a little bit. But the bodybuilders that I know and the people that succeed in this discipline, they're disciplined all year long for the most part.
So I don't know, what do you walk around at?
Geez, I haven't weighed myself in a long time. I would say right now I'm around 215, 220-ish, I would say.
Okay. And obviously hardly any body fat. So what's your daily caloric intake?
I don't, I'm ashamed to say it, I don't measure my food that much anymore.
But you measure or something.
I don't. I have in the past. I had. I don't even remember what they were anymore. It's been so long. But I'm eating clean constantly. Right. I do dabble in a little bit of ice cream here and there. Seem like you have similar genetics to me. You'll always be pretty lean no matter what.
Yeah, I'm pretty lean, jacked, and I'm more like I have more of like I used to be a dancer too, so I'm just like a little bit smaller. I'm like a Captain America, and you would be like Thor if we had to. Like Cap's a little.
I'll take it, brother. But honestly, I moved to plant-based whey. So I'm working with a company called the Ambrosia Collective, and they have the best tasting plant-based protein I've ever. I won't go back to whey, period. It's the best tasting protein I've ever had, whey or plant-based, period.
Isn't that? I know CT Fletcher works with that company too, right?
Yeah. He's got a signature flavor. It's chocolate caramel candy bar. It tastes like a Twix.
Like a shake?
Yeah,
wow.
If you had this shake, you wouldn't believe that it's plant-based. I had it. No one told me it was plant-based. I'm used to having whey. I drink whey my whole life, and I drank the whole shake, and then someone told me it was plant-based, and I'm sold. So,
I'm gonna have to. I believe you. You sound like a man of honor.
I don't like to endorse anything that I don't use. I talk about this all the time because all I gotta do is once someone tries it, they'll understand what I'm saying.
Okay, because I'm at the I'm 40, so whey affects me a little bit differently now than it used to, and so I'm starting to do more plant-based. Like when I supplement anyway, like I still eat meat.
Same.
But like when I supplement the shakes, I need to be more plant-based. Sure. I'm gonna try this because I trust you.
It's dope. It's different. So my best friend and my training partner she's been vegan for I want to say the last 18 years. And I've watched her. She's my training partner, my best friend. She's been vegan for 18 years, and I've watched her for the last 5. We've been best friends for the last 5 years. I've watched her try so many plant-based proteins and watch her like plug her nose and choke them down, and I gave her a shake and she's sold. It's crazy. It's anywhere you try it, sold. I don't mind. I talk about it all the time.
All right. Ambrosia, you guys are welcome because you guys are stock through the roof now. Okay. who are 3 people, and you don't have to know them necessarily, but 3 people that have influenced you the most in your life?
Ooh, man, these are good. Holy smokes.
I didn't write this one either.
These,
good questions, right?
yeah, influenced my most. My first son. I love both of my sons, Anthony and Phoenix, but Anthony was my first. He influenced my life tremendously. Just at the time he was born, or we were having my son, I was in a really, really tough spot. I was in some legal trouble. I was looking at maybe possibly going behind bars for a little bit of time, and I had no idea where my life was going or what I was doing. But he presented a North Star, so to speak, and I actually began journaling at that point. And I was writing everything I was going through emotionally to my 21-year-old son when he would be 21. And I was explaining things that an adult would understand. I was talking to him as though I had someone old enough to talk to, confiding in him. And so he definitely influenced my life for sure. He still does every day. My son's amazing. Both of my sons are amazing. He's 11. He's 11 years old. He turned
I'm gonna be honest, and I feel like if you walked into like a prison or something, like you would probably intimidate most of the people in there.
I was a very scared individual at that point in time, and it was a very frightening point of my life, filled with obvious stress and uncertainty. But my son, without him even being born, he presented this beacon of light. Just follow the light, you'll be fine. Just pay attention to this thing and focus on this thing, and everything will be okay. And so for sure, Anthony. Let's see. Man, these are really good questions. My youngest brother, Brian, he's influenced my life. He's younger than me, but he's wise beyond his years. And in many, many ways, he's like an older brother, because he's very similar to me, but way more patient, way more calm, and knows how to assess a situation and think divergently and figure out different ways of approaching something. Whereas I'm far more, let's say, I act more impulsively, and I'm learning from him. So I've always been learning from him as long as I can remember. So he's definitely influenced my life for sure.
Like you are open to learning all the time. Absolutely. And I think that's so important. Not only because you probably grew up around people, and as did I. Like, guys don't need no help. Guys know everything. It is what it is. They don't want to talk about the feelings. I know everything. And it's like, no, like you should always be open to looking at things differently and different opinions. And just like, but I feel like just from what I've learned about you and talking to you and listening, like I said, some of your podcasts, like I think that's the thing with you, and I like it. It's great.
I enjoy learning. I'm just obsessed with trying to become the best human being that I can be. And I've learned just through being, the years I've been here, 34, I'm at my best, and I'm vibrating the highest when I'm helping people around me in a really unique and a very authentic type of way. So I try to do that all the time. And let's see, one more. I'd say my coach, Ariel, he's influenced my life tremendously. He believed in something that I didn't know how to believe in, and he gave me some tools and some support. And here we are. I'm talking to you, and I'm loving every moment of it, man.
So when you played I'm assuming there was a time you probably had like a blueprint for like as a basketball player, like someone had to see you and be like, see your potential, obviously.
Yeah.
So what were you then? Because you say right now you're about 215 or so. So what were you as a basketball player?
You could ask me the embarrassing questions. I think
you're a basketball player. That's how it is.
I remember being like 175 pounds at like sophomore, junior year of high school, I think. At 6'2".
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm 6'2". And I remember being pretty thin, man. I remember being really, really, really like quick. When opponents guarded me, they had to like chase me. That was my thing. I was a shooter and I could dribble really well, but you had to chase me around. And the moment you got tired, I would catch and shoot really, really well. So I was running a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Different physique for sure.
It's funny that you're like, yeah, I was 175 and like you're embarrassed about it because like I walk around at like 160.
So I hope I'm not offending anybody.
I'm 5'10". It is, like I told you, Captain America, you're Thor. That's the way it works.
This is the thing with bodybuilding is, and I'm victim of it too, is you have a somewhat of an unrealistic representation of what you can look like for a very short period of time. And
right.
For most of us, it's not sustainable for 365. You hurt yourself trying to sustain that. And so I see myself looking more like an everyday sustainable physique, and I tell myself like, a negative thought. It's absolutely erroneous,
What's okay, this is not a hard, I mean, maybe it's hard, but I like asking this question. So heaven forbid you're on a desert island. Okay. But on this desert island, you have access to a television and a DVD player. What 3 movies that you take with you to be on this island forever?
Dumb and Dumber. That's one for sure.
Okay, that's a
sure.
Man, I will never forget seeing that movie in the theater the first time. Like, I had to be like in high school or something, and it was just like, like, see, then this is something that I miss, like with the pandemic and everything, is being able to go to a movie theater, like a funny movie, especially when everyone's laughing because it's like it's infectious. Yeah. And
it's nostalgic.
Yeah, that was. I mean, the sequel was, but
That's how I feel about sequels, man. Some movies, you guys just let them sit on that shelf, man. You can't. How do you can't like repackage lightning? You sit here, you did
like, I don't know. I mean, did you see Coming to America too?
I won't watch it. I'm afraid to watch it. I'm afraid.
Same. It's fine, but it's just like, they probably should just.
That's I'm afraid. I'm afraid I'll feel that way.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's fine, but it's not like Coming to America is.
What would you give the second one, 1 to 10?
As far as like how good it is?
Yeah.
It's 5. It's just right in the middle. Like there's funny parts but it's not a bad movie. It's just there. Sure. It's just like, here's all these characters that you remember and here they still are. Thank you.
Sure.
That's it, I don't know.
I feel you.
Dumb and Dumber.
Okay. I'm gonna have to say the very first Hulk movie, with Lou Ferrigno. What was it called? I think it was called The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, I don't even think I've seen this. There was like a full-length feature?
Yeah.
Now, have you met Lou?
Yeah, I've met him a couple of times. He's pretty big. He's a big guy. He's a big human being.
Still?
Yeah, he's like 6'4". Well, when I saw him, he was like maybe a little like my height, but he's a big guy. Big hand.
He was that big.
Yeah, when he was competing against Arnold, I think he was like 6'4", 6'5". He's much taller than Arnold was.
So he's shrunk?
Yeah, like when people get a little older, they kind of, yeah, but he was still pretty big. Paws.
Angry. Do you remember he has a cameo in the Hulk?
Yeah, he's a security guard.
Yes. And I'm just so cool because if you know, but if you don't, you're just like
right over your head, huh?
Yeah, like he's just a guy, he's the security guard, and you're just like, that's just so funny.
That's how I like Stan Lee. Stan Lee does that too in all his movies, if you don't know who he is.
Yeah. R.I.P. I know. This is what you remember we were talking about, like cell phones at the gym.
Yeah.
I've probably seen this meme, but there's a meme and it goes like, gyms in the 70s, and I'm assuming it's gold, but it's like Lou Ferrigno, Arnold, and all these fucking big ass dudes, and they're like pushing tons of weight, right? And then it says gyms in the 2000 and whatever, and it's all these dudes sitting on their phones in between sets, and you're just like,
That's where we are. It's crazy. It's it's wild. That's where we are. I need one more movie, right?
Yeah, you need one more, dude.
I'm gonna say Inception. Have you seen Inception?
Of course.
I dig that movie. It's been a long time since I saw it, but if I remember correctly, that'd be a movie. I'm a thinker. I'll think myself around in circles. That movie would entertain me on an island. I could think.
Christopher Nolan is, I mean, he's great. It is what it is. I have to watch a shitload of movies in order for me to be able to host this podcast. It's the rules. So I have to, know all these things.
He did. Chris Nolan did one of the Batmans, right? Didn't he do Dark Knight?
The whole with Christian Bale, like he did all three of those.
There you go.
Dope
movie, man.
Did that movie that came out that COVID messed it up, but Tenet.
Oh, we were gonna watch that on is that on Netflix? I think we were gonna watch that.
I don't know where it is now because it was. I remember watching it like when it it came out in theaters because theaters were open for like a second, and then they did it like on demand or whatever. I won't ruin it since you haven't seen it, but I love Christopher. He's great. What's it about? I can't tell you.
Damn. I'm watching it tonight.
You got to just watch it. All I can tell you this. Actually, no, I don't want to tell you this because you might not watch it.
All right, deal. Watching it tonight for sure.
Okay, man. Where can our listeners find you online?
Sure. So I'm on IG at AntWoods, ANT_WOODZ. My podcast is More Than Muscle. I'm on Apple, I'm on iHeart and Spotify, More Than Muscle Podcast. And Facebook, Anthony Woods.
Facebook. Oh, do you have like a fan page?
I don't, not yet.
You have a regular Facebook page, like a person.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And you're not maxed out yet?
Sometimes I am, and sometimes I'm not. I don't know how that works with Facebook.
They clean out the bots sometimes because I have I'm nowhere near being maxed out, but like I remember same thing. Like I'm like as a comedian, you want like a following, right?
Yeah.
Follow me, you guys. But like you want like anybody that sent me a request, I'd be like accept, and just watch it grow. And then I'd see the numbers go down. I'm like, what the hell? And they were just like Instagram does from time to time, like they clean out the bots because there are some bots.
I'm terrible with Facebook. I have to admit it. I gotta do better with Facebook for sure.
I mean, nothing against Facebook, but it's probably better that you don't spend a lot of time on there, if you know what I mean. Like you're talking about like, putting the positivity inside. Like I forget who talked about this, but he was talking about how we eat we eat well, right? We feed our good food to fuel our workouts, to give us energy throughout the day. And if we eat better foods, we feel better. Yes.
Right.
And then it's talking about what you take into your brain, like what you read, what you scroll through, and how people will put good things into their body to take care of this feeling, but then they put crap on. So like, and I'm on social media, but like I try to be entertained, but it's so true. Like we going through the Twitters and the Facebooks, and people are fighting, and you're just like, you're putting bad things in here. And as you know, someone that advocates, people being mentally healthy, like sometimes it's the best to not. It's probably better that you're not on there. Is all I'm saying.
something about Facebook. I don't know what it is, but
it's the algorithm.
Yeah, it's just nothing but politics for me, at least on my. It's just political stuff. I'm not a very political person, so I can't be part of it.
It's one of those things where like the more people get riled up, the more it'll actually show up in your feed. So the only way to work around it is to only like don't even like stop on something that looks like look at kittens or something, and then your feed will be like all kittens and whatever.
Makes sense.
Yeah, or like if you like for me, like I'm a big Dodger fan, so like everything Dodgers I click on, so like my feed is like Dodgers and gym, and like I try to like not even I will not argue with people. I'll post, I do what's called post and ghost. Post something and then I just bounce.
I like it.
Sometimes it's not, but that's, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. We've learned so much about you, about vegan protein, about kind of how I feel like your experience as a bodybuilder, you know, is not, like you said, everyone has a different kind of, everybody's different, you know. If I talk to another bodybuilder, they might say something completely different than what you're saying, but it works for you, and what works, that's all that really matters. Do you have any do you have any shows coming up that you're going to be
working towards something pretty soon? I don't have a date exactly yet, but something pretty soon. I've been working pretty hard.
Okay. Oh, we look forward to seeing your results and everything. Cool, man. Like I said, thank you so much for joining. It was a pleasure chatting with you. Where are you? You're in California somewhere, right?
Yeah, I'm in Santa Ana.
714.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I went to Cal State Fullerton, so I know very well.
You're in LA, yeah?
Normally I am actually, and by the time this airs, I might very well be back. My girlfriend's from Oklahoma, and so we came out here a couple months ago just to get out of LA for a little bit, you know. But now that by the time people hear this, they might be like, "What are you talking about? Oh, it's fine now." So, yeah, I'll be back soon enough. You know, but I mean,
hope to meet you when you come back for sure.
Yeah, dude, I would love to, dude. That'd be awesome, man. I'll want to work out. I want to do a shoulder workout, right? Shoulder foods.
We'll do it at CT Fletcher's gym. We'll do it for sure.
Oh, dude, Iron Addicts.
Yeah, we'll do it at Iron Addicts for sure.
I would love that, dude. I met him at one of the Fit Expos, and nicest. I didn't get a chance to chat with him, but dude, totally. Thank you.
Let's do it, man.
I hope you guys that this recorded, because we had some technical difficulties going through here. So I hope for my sake and for your sake that we didn't, but it says it's recording, so I think we're good. So thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Talk to you next time, man. Thank you.
Got it. Appreciate you, brother.
Bye, guys.